Jaden Newt, a right-handed pitcher from Sierra Canyon High School in California. Again, another one of our more recent commits. Electric fastball up to 95, 96 miles an hour, really good curveball, highly motivated, really believes in himself, pitches with a lot of confidence that I think is going to be necessary to make an early contribution, in the top of the SEC and at a place like LSU. And again, the talent, as I speak of these guys, it really stands out to you, but I think the competitiveness, the confidence is something that you'll see which separates them and makes them the players that they are. Mick Paul is an outfielder from Olympus High School in Utah, elite runner, I think he's like a 6'4", 6'5", 60 runner, terrific defensive center fielder, one of the best that I've seen in a long time in recruiting circles, tremendous athlete. Again, another left-handed hitter that can handle the bat and do a lot of things really, really well. Another elite caliber makeup person that's going to make everybody around him better. Mikey Romero, shortstop from Orange Lutheran High School in California, probably the player on this list that I've known the longest. I believe he had committed to us when he was in 8th grade. So, I mean, to get to signing day is a pretty significant day in that relationship. By no surprise, he's turned into one of the best players in the country, left-hand hitting shortstop, handles the ball at that position about as well as you can, and has really turned into, in my opinion, one of the best left-handed hitters in the country. And just a quick story about him. I remember, he was on a visit in 8th grade, and well, that was still, you could still do that. It was several years ago. And I was kind of nervous about, am I really going to verbally commit a junior high kid? And so we're starting to talk about it. I was like, man, you got to continue to get better. And his dad, Mike, who's one of the best people that I know, just a coach, I will make sure that this happens. And I looked over here, and his sister, Sierra, is one of the best softball players in the world. Was a National Player of the Year at the University of Michigan. And then Sydney, his other sister, was a 2-time national champion at the University of Oklahoma. And, his dad said he might be the third best shortstop in our family, but I'll make sure he's good enough to be the shortstop for you. But their family is superstar all the way through, and really excited to have Mikey here at LSU. Zeb Ruddle from Neville High School here in Louisiana. Love left-handed hitters, I love athletic players, and Zeb certainly fits that. So we got a chance to evaluate him throughout the back end of the summer and the fall. Thought he really made some significant steps forward. And if you look at our style of play or our team, and then you watch Zeb play, he's a guy that easily fits into that. And I mentioned, I think Gavin is the top player in the state. I think Zeb is the next best player in the state, and both of them are different and are certainly going to contribute a lot here at LSU. Chase Shores, right-handed pitcher from Midland Lee High School in Midland, Texas. Again, 6'8", 6'9". Going to have to keep Coach Wade away from some of these pitchers, and make sure that he's not trying to take them over to the basketball floor. But one of the best high school pitchers in the country, electric fastball, downhill, swing and miss breaker, elite competitor, super teammate as well. There's no boxes that he doesn't check. There's not a box he doesn't check, relative to talent, relative to competitiveness, relative to character, relative to impact that he's going to have at LSU. So again, a recent commit and a very big one, for us. It's one of the top high school pitchers in the country. Adrian Saravo from Weatherford Community College in Texas, originally from Connecticut, was a Cape Cod League All-Star this summer. And as we were evaluating what we needed in 2023, old pitching, kind of came to the forefront of what we were looking at, which is why you see, some transfer pitchers in here, and very excited to get Adrian. A lot of confidence. Coach Fitzgerald was at the Texas Junior College All-Star game this fall, and just simple text like, we got the best guy, and that's what we think of Adrian, and really excited about him. Robbie Snelling, left-handed pitcher from McQueen High School in Reno, Nevada. much like Mikey, I mean, I offered this kid a scholarship when he was in 8th grade. And, he's also a 4-star football recruit, is not going to be playing football at LSU, so let's squelch that right now. I want to make sure that we keep him all to ourselves over here, but certainly could. There's a pretty good clip of what caliber football player he is on running around on the internet on a hit he made the other night, so you can see why. The only thing more aggressive than how he hits running backs and quarterbacks is his fastball. Getting it up to 94 from the left side with the wipeout slider, and pitches with elite competitiveness, and is exactly, again, the type of person, the type of player that we want to recruit here to LSU. Last, and certainly not least, Tucker Tillman, third baseman from Columbia, South Carolina. Switch hitter, one of the best hitters, best infielders in the country. Had performed all summer against the top competition. He's obviously got a great baseball background. His dad, Jim Tillman, legendary coach and recruiter at the college level at multiple stops. And, you can see it in how Tuck plays, that he's been around baseball his entire life, and, has unbelievable awareness. I think when I look at this list, I think there's a lot of guys that can make immediate contributions. I think Tucker, really jumps up to the top of that as well. Will fit really well with a really good group of returning players that we think we're going to have, following this season. So, great day. Like I said, a lot went into it. There's been a lot of low sleep, high coffee nights since the end of June to get to today. And well worth it, and there's another part of this process. Obviously this is a special place and a special experience, and when you talk about guys like Alex Bregman and DJ LeMahieu and Kevin Gosman and all the guys that used LSU as their development path to be Major League Baseball All-Stars, we want these guys to do that as well. So it's a great start, and now we'll get into that next phase of why this is important for them. So, great day to be a Tiger.
Questions? Yeah, hey Coach, you mentioned the pitching staff. I mean, there's I think you said 11 or 12 pitchers. Just what about locking down that number of pitchers made sense for this class in particular?
Yeah, I think I'm very open-minded, and really came into this thing with, okay, what is the most important thing? And when you looked at LSU's team last year, they played a lot of freshmen, Dylan Cruz, Trey Morgan, Jordan Thompson, knowing we would have some Brody, we got some really good pieces that will be in their 3rd year of college baseball in 2023, then my brain starts to go we can develop some of the rest of this, but you can't outcoach your own bad pitching. And what I'm excited about is there's some guys out here in fall baseball right now that are making some massive strides in their development, and Coach Kelly deserves a ton of credit for that. And the players, working really hard. So now you start, seeing some of that come together, and then you start seeing some of the names on this list, how they throw their fastball, how they work down in the zone, how they have swing and miss type breaking stuff, elite changeups, and put all of that together. It has the makings of not a good, but a great pitching staff in 2023 and beyond. So I think just prioritizing what's most important and, winning. I mean, I'm an offensive guy, but winning starts and ends with what you have on the mound.
You mentioned that pitch and that, the second phase is just about to start. I was just curious, how much do you think NIL will be a part of that pitch? I mean that's obviously a groundbreaking thing over the last several months. Just how big do you think that would play into getting some guys that maybe you might not get in the past?
I think it remains to be seen. However, there's no better platform for a player to create value for themselves at a college baseball program than at this place out here, leading the country in fan attendance, almost every year for the past 20 or 25. I don't want to speak incorrectly. And the passion that the fans here have about LSU and about LSU baseball. And, our players are guys, you don't get attention in baseball anywhere like this program unless you are a major league player, and a major league player for like the New York Yankees, or the San Francisco Giants or the Los Angeles Dodgers, the top market teams. So I think there's unlimited potential. Some of our players are tapping into that already, and I think that's really exciting. And I think that guys on this list are very marketable in terms of their talent and in terms of their character. And so you give them a platform like LSU baseball, I think, that NIL thing becomes very real. And hopefully that helps a couple of them, just gives them another reason, not to bypass this. For me, there's 20 other reasons that are more important to that, and their development and their growth and their readiness for professional baseball that they'll get by playing here in this environment. But, I think it's very realistic to say that could help us.
So #1 recruiting class, your first year as head coach, and but I just wonder, did you also load this class with a lot of pitchers with anticipation of some of them probably leaving in the draft, or do you see NIL also being one of those factors that could actually entice them to stay another year of college baseball?
It's a good question. I kind of wish, that's just crazy thought, but I kind of wish it was almost like maybe the NBA where they have to declare what direction they're going, but that's not the way that it is. Mm-hmm. And what I do know is you cannot get to Omaha without elite talent. It's very difficult to get to Omaha without future major league players on your roster. It's really difficult. So you have to run some risks, and we certainly did that, but there's also some calculation in that. And we mentioned getting to know the players and the families. There's a lot of guys on here that their family values college, and you will never convince me that this is not a better path for life development. Obviously for academics it's better, but for baseball development, we're all in with these players to help them become major league players in this program. And every day of my life and our coach's life is centered around how do we make our players better, which makes our team better, which for the player, that's a great thing. You think about, getting here in the summer and training or going out and playing summer baseball. Then you play your freshman year. Then you go to the Cape Cod League your sophomore year. Then Team USA, weight room, one of the best weight rooms in college baseball with Coach Roy. And so it's just like this 36-month laboratory for improvement. And then now you can go into professional baseball really ready to succeed. Everybody wants to point to like a Mike Trout or a Corey Seager. Okay, yeah, those guys are one of a kind. They're not run around everywhere. But by and large, if you look at guys that stay in the major leagues for a long time and have sustainable careers, most of those guys actually come from college baseball and programs like LSU. And so I think these guys, they value education. I think we'll spend a lot of time over the next 6 months, 7 months, continuing to educate them on that, and that's part of this. So yeah, sometimes you have to get a few more than you need because of that, but I think there's several guys on this list that want to be here. It would almost be disappointing, if they didn't come here. And I know that might sound strange, why would somebody be disappointed to, have $2 million offered to them and turn it down? Some guys will do that. Some guys that I named on here will turn down that money and come play for us, and that's exciting.
I'm also curious about the one player from Canada. What goes into recruiting a player from there, and how is their system different?
Yeah, that was a Coach Kelly connection. When he was at the University of Washington, I believe he started the recruitment of Micah there before he left to go to Arizona State. And then, so they knew each other, and then he brought it to me as, hey, he's going to reclassify, do an additional year of high school and reopen his recruitment, and then, evaluating where we were at least what we knew about our team, what we had in the recruiting class, draft risks, all those types of things. It just made sense to go get him. And got a great arm, and Coach Kelly feels very good about his ability to contribute. So I don't know that we even really looked at the Canada thing that much, other than he was available. I mean, he was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays last year, so it's clear that there's some talent there. And with all these guys, they're uber talented, and our job will be to put together the right development process to help them become great players here. And he's a guy that we think can do that.
I was told to ask about Gavin Guidry and just what makes him such a special player. If there's maybe a story that, just over the last couple months you've gotten to get to know him that really makes him stand out.
Yeah, first, he definitely stands out. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The first thing for me is just the confidence piece. And it's real. And, just the feeling of winner that I get when I'm around him. And that, comes to light on the field relative to, he's a guy I can see bringing in, in a tie game where it's first and second, 1 out, and feel confident we're getting out of the inning. He's going to throw a couple nasty breaking balls in there, locate a fastball, strike somebody out, pop somebody up, and then come up and probably hit a single with 2 strikes up the middle to drive in the game-winning run. I mean, that's just the vibe that I get every time that I'm around him. The other thing, too, is his commitment to be at LSU. I mean, we had a really cool day, probably about a month ago. He brought his dad and his grandpa and his uncle. It was like on a Friday at like noon, and came over for an unofficial visit. We just walked around the field, and how excited all of them were that he was going to be playing here. And I think there's something special to that exists at this school and at this program that doesn't exist at other places. And so he's a big time piece of this thing going forward. And his ability obviously speaks for itself, but the competitive nature of Gavin is what really stands out to me.
I'm only seeing, I think, 2 Louisiana natives on this list, and I'm just curious, you seem to go all over the country for this class. Is that something that's different about your class or than years past? Or, I was just wondering if that's a new thing for LSU baseball.
The thing for LSU baseball is going to be the best players, to help us get to Omaha. And I will say this, and I'll say this about the players on our team right now. I couldn't be more impressed about the in-state players here. I could not be more impressed. And when I look around our roster and the players that we have from the state of Louisiana is really awesome. I think in looking at that, though, the fact that there was so many, it actually gave us some flexibility, with this to go get what we needed. And so I don't know that there's a trend. If there's a really good player from Baton Rouge, West Monroe, New Orleans, Slidell, or wherever, and they can help us get back to the College World Series, then we're definitely going to be recruiting them. So there's no intentionality behind any of that. And I think you'll see a couple more guys come on board. No, I don't know that I have an answer for that, really.
Fall baseball? Sure, why not? I just wanted, after I talked to you after the first 10 innings on Sunday, and I wanted to know, after coming away with I guess, the exhibition win and everything, what did you see from your team that was encouraging, and what is the mindset going into this weekend's slate of scrimmages? What are you hoping to see?
Yeah, I think the encouraging parts, again, starting and ending with pitching. I think, walking 2 guys in 20 innings that's significant. Significant positive development. And like I said, I mentioned some positive impact, Coach Kelly has had on recruiting some of these players. I think he's made it a better or a bigger impact on the field, with the pitching staff. And I think the pitchers would tell you that, and probably have already. So the limiting of free bases from the mound, and I think we made 2 errors in 20 innings. I thought we handled the baseball really well. So, you know, when you're limiting opportunities for the opponent like that, it can be really hard to score. And I think it's well documented. We have some really good position players where you might be able to get through the order a time or two, but it's going to be really difficult to get through it 2, 3, or 4 times. And so if we pitch and defend at that level and then continue to improve offensively with some of the talent that we have, I think that's a good recipe for us.
Any questions?
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.